Welcome to this Jing. The purpose of this presentation is to give you an overview of what your final product should look like for the Week 3 Table of Specifications assignment. If you haven't already looked at the assignment leading to this product, please stop the Jing now and take a look at that actual assignment. Okay, let's begin with what we have. The first page we have really an explanation of the first part of the plan, which is basically to talk about the students that are involved in this assessment. In this case, we have 7th grade life science students. And then the other part of the explanation is to talk about what the unit is about, and that's what the student has done here. Notice in the third paragraph, she's explained why she's working just with 2 domains. She has the cognitive domain and the affective domain, but she explains a little bit later why the psychomotor domain isn't included in this. Also on this page, which I think is helpful, she included a little key that can be used to explain the next 2 pages that are going to be coming. So a key explaining the cognitive domain, and then a key explaining the affective domain too. I think it would have been helpful if we had maybe a 2-letter explanation of application, AP, and then we've got the A used again, so maybe an AN for that. And then the same comment would apply. We've got R used the same time, so maybe a 2nd or 3rd letter that could have helped explain those a little better. And the same thing with our 2 V's that we have, but that's a fine point. Let's take a look at the second page now, and this is really the heart of the plan. This is the table of specifications, and she's laid it out with the GIOs and the SLOs on the left-hand side, and then the actual matrix with her cognitive domain and the affective domain that's laid out on the right-hand side. Let's come back to our GIO. Okay, GIOs start off 1.0. The next GIO is 2.0. She's done a nice job with it. Starts with a verb, begins with a capital letter, ends with a period. Each of her SLOs then, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, those all are relating to the GIO. They explain it further in some way. And again, each of those starts with a verb, begins with a capital letter. Each of the verb ends with an S, you'll notice, and it each ends with a period. So all the GIOs here I think are looking good. SLOs are looking good, so we're off to a good start. On the right-hand side then we've got the cognitive domain, and this student has simply put a check mark in whatever category that happened to be. In this case, the first SLO is in the comprehension category. We do have a lot of SLOs at the lower level here, but then we are moving to a couple that are at the higher level as well. Notice we don't have too many in the affective domain here, and that's fine. She deals with that later. Let's scroll down a little bit more. Again, good GIO, good SLOs. Everything's marked appropriately. Let's look at the second page on this one then. Okay, again we have GIOs, SLOs, and then when on 4.0 then we're finally getting some SLOs that are in the affective domain. So you see some that are included here. One thing this student could have done that I think would have improved things a little bit would be included a place right at the end here where my cursor is, where the student could have totaled up how many SLOs are in the knowledge level, how many are in the comprehension level, the application level, and so forth. I think that's helpful because at a glance you can see how much you're working at the lower level, how much you're working at the higher levels too. So that would have been helpful. As I said before, this student is working only in 2 domains. That's fine in this case. You also have a sample that includes the 3 different domains, which I would encourage you to work in all 3 if you possibly can. The sample you're going to look at is laid out sideways on the page, and that's certainly fine to do as well too. So hopefully that's been helpful. You've got this model to look at and then the one other model too. I think that'll get you started.